Welcome back, my friends. I'm the Educational Gamer and we are playing Strategic Command WWII as the Allies. Last time we did play as the Soviets, now we want to play as the Western Allies and look at the theaters that are relevant. So Norway, Northern Africa with the American landings and the British push into Libya, as well as the American campaign in Guadalcanal and the naval campaign against the Axis over there. So let's start out in Norway because it is a very difficult theater. So we did drop our first paratroopers over here without realizing that they'd be completely out of supply. On the other hand, we have also landed our Royal Marines over here close to Trondheim, where we are currently trying to capture the town so that we can indeed get some resupply and ultimately drive onwards to Lillehammer. So let's start out over here. So I think the first thing that we want to do over here is actually attack the town of Trondheim and reduce potentially even the garrison a little bit, even though we are failing to do so, of course. We are a little bit lucky in that it is November and there is no snowfall in Norway just yet, at the very least not in Trondheim. Over here in Steinkjer there is. So we also are able to conduct some strikes with our carrier forces over here. So let's try to do that. Let's try to reduce the entrenchment and, or at least morale, just a little bit. That would already be helpful, I think. We are not conducting too much damage on these guys though, with our carrier-based planes over here, so no direct damage that I can see. That is very, very disheartening. So yeah, I think what we actually need to do then is directly use our Trondheim garrison. Can we move over here? Land and sea. Okay, that's interesting. We can move over here, but nevertheless, let's attack over here. And then I do think that we can move in a little bit inwards. And the reason why that is important is because... let's make some room. We do have the British Expeditionary Forces over here, which is unfortunately a very normal army. One that I realize can potentially take the town in one go. So let's try that. National morale boost. You cannot go there though, so let's try to land you over here. And then we can indeed capture Trondheim. And that is a very, very important win for us. Because it will allow us to do so much more damage on them. Not sure why we didn't capture the port over here in the same go though. So that I don't quite understand, but I think it might have to do with the fact that there's a mine over here and we haven't captured that. But all in all, I'm very, very happy about this result. And that is very good for us indeed. So that now means we can think about what we are going to do over here with Bergen. There's not too much actually. Can of course conduct the strike on the port itself, but not on the garrison, so that is unfortunate. Can we actually bring you over here? We cannot. Could bring you over here now and then bring you up to Trondheim. That might not be the worst. Yeah, other than that though, there's not much threat from any German interference on any of these positions, so I'm pretty happy about the situation as is. So don't really need to do too much with the UK then, except maybe reinforce these battleships. I think I just upgraded them. That was not what I wanted to do. Reinforce these destroyers so that they are marginally better at things. Definitely reinforce these fighters that do need some repairs, as we should with these submarines. I don't actually want to upgrade my heavy bombers over here because they've been actually pretty bad at what they are doing. So I do not necessarily think that that is an important task for them. So again, bring over fighters, bring over tactical bombers. Let's postpone that decision just a brief while. We can move up our light cruisers towards Bordeaux so that we are reducing the strength over there. Indeed, I think maybe bring up these destroyers over there so that they can reduce Brest. Now, on the other hand, in North Africa. So, first off, I think we want to drive on to Algiers over here. See what we can do over here. Actually, not have much of an impact. That is interesting to see. It's probably due to our supply situation, right? Yeah, you are very low on supply. I think what we definitely want to do is link up our forces over here. So let's actually take these tanks, drive through Fets towards Iran, and that should be helpful. And you can be reinforced to the max. Yes, you can. So let's indeed reinforce our marines over here. That should be very helpful in the mid-term. We do have some transports over here, the 101st Airborne. That might indeed be useful. I'm also mindful of this Italian battleship. Maybe that is indeed what we should be dealing with first. So, how's the situation over here? Sea and storms. So unfortunately we will not be able to attack with our carriers. We will be able to attack with our battleships though. So yeah, let's bring up our stronger battleship first, I guess. Attack over here. Nice. Nice, very good result for us. Second battleship can join in. Not quite a good result, but still helpful, I believe. You're still in a stormy area. Let's bring up our heavy cruisers, who are not that heavy actually, but well, not as heavy as as a battleship, but that is not looking too badly. So we can actually launch an attack with our carriers over here. We should also reinforce our desert fighters though, and I don't want to waste that strike, so let's go over here. Yeah, very good. Did sink the Italian battleship. That is a very good result, so that means we can be a little bit more aggressive over here. Although I'm still mindful about the potential presence of Italian and German submarines in the Mediterranean. Although it doesn't necessarily look like there is much over here. I think they are probably in port. They very probably are. Not in La Spezia though. Interesting. Maybe in Rome. Okay, so that does leave us with the potential to bring up these forces towards over there, towards that position. That's all you could do. You can't even go further either, so yeah, we might have to do just some damage as we can. What are you? I'm guessing you're the headquarter actually. And we do have some transports over here. It's kind of unfortunate that it doesn't really tell you what type of unit is included in this first transport fleet. Here it does for some reason. Sometimes it just doesn't do that. Okay, let's bring you up all the way to Algiers. And then we should be able to attack, but we are not, interestingly enough. Okay, the mechanized forces are going to take the first strike over here. See whether that does anything for it. It doesn't look like it. So that in fact tells me we should potentially try to shield our forces over here a little bit more. Because we are definitely a little bit exposed now that most of our guys are over here. And I'm guessing we can put the 101st Airborne on shore, and that will allow us to do more things in the immediate future. Why can't you unload? Interesting. Okay, we do not seem to have that many more transports. Well, some. More rangers. That's good. Yeah, let's bring it up as far as possible. Other than that though, there are some units stuck in Europe. Let's actually operate some of these fighters down towards Africa. Let's put you over there. And I think some of these tactical bombers as well. Just so that we have these forces ready in the European theatre once we need them. We might actually need them now. And these tanks, shall we upgrade them now? I think it's fine if we transport them now. Yeah, that's good enough. and then we can upgrade them later. We also have these these Mexican units, which I think we can transport as well. Yeah, so let's get you on some transports, and let's actually make sure you're traveling as fast as you can. There you are. Okay, fine. Good. Other than that, there is no one in the US except for some Zeppelins, which are not important. Ooh, we shouldn't forget about these Canadian units, so let's bring you up. And just pretend that we need to patrol these lines. That's alright. Good. So, that does settle most of the North African theatre from the American perspective. I guess you can move up as well. I don't think we need to push down here. Let's look at what the Brits are doing over here. So, the Germans are putting up more for defense now over here, and we are losing out some supply. They especially brought up these Africa anti-tank units, which we can soften up just a little bit by striking them from the air. How about you? It's all a 1-1 attack. I think we lost most of these strikes from these guys, but heavy cruisers are still capable of delivering some damage, so that is interesting to see. The Ark Royal, I think we can pull back towards Alexandria, especially since we don't seem to be finding any submarine presence of the Italians or Germans anywhere. So yeah, that's fine. You're gonna come back to Alexandria where you can be reinforced, and that should be lovely. Good. So, your strikes are all done, your strikes are all done, your strikes are all done. All of these battleships are fine thereby. So that does mean we have some artillery, yeah, but really our airstrikes are the primary way now of engaging over here. The morale is pretty low, but 60% readiness we might be able to decrease just a little bit. Taking some more damage over there than expected. But yeah, now these guys have been shot up pretty badly. I realize that they do have some field artillery, which is going to conduct some strikes on us as we attack over here. Defensive artillery. There we go. But still, I do really want to break these guys, if at all possible. Could pull up our special forces as well. How do things look like here with the Africa Corps itself? So you would need to withdraw to, let's say, over here, and then bring up the special forces. Yeah, you know what, let's do that. That should also blockade their withdrawal possibilities. Can attack over here. Ah, very nearly killed them. You have one strike left. Okay, let's pull you up. Let's do it. Very bad for us in the power that strike took, but all in all, I'm fine with the result as such. Good, and that does mean that, you know what, these Sudanese defense forces, you're pretty ready. That's good to see. And the 12th Corps itself, we will be able to, or make sure that you will be shipped out very soon, I think. So, right, very good. Okay, and you know what, the Desert Anti-Tank we will put on transport. And you will actually try to get towards the UK so that you're ready for a landing in Europe very soon. Right, so that does about settle it over here, I think. So we can pull these battleships. Well, maybe we shouldn't put them close to the front because there is this artillery and it will fire on ships. But yeah, like such should be fine. These tanks, let's move them up over here so that you're a little bit exposed towards that direction, and that should principally be fine. Right, let's look at the supply situation. There are some places that are a little bit better supply, so let's make sure to move up. And that's fine. So that does settle North Africa in its totality. You can't ship out now, no? You can't. Okay. Also got these French units, and you know what, of course you should also be transported, because if we are going to liberate France, we really should have some UK units helping out. Especially if it's Leclerc leading them. Good. Right, so let's look at Guadalcanal. So we know that the Japanese do have 6 naval units. We do know about this submarine and another submarine operating in this area. We do know about this carrier, and we do know that around here that there must be a battleship somewhere that we've seen, yeah, the last couple of turns over there. So that is interesting. That does account for... We know the precise location of 3 of their ships. I know that there was a destroyer over here and that second submarine. So I think it's very crucial that we find the second submarine before we send out our supplies over that way. Would also like to conduct a strike on these carriers. Our carriers are really not capable of reaching all the way. But we can at least move out towards sort of the Marshall Islands area. But that's not going to be enough to actually find the enemy, especially not the enemy submarine. So let's start out with these light cruisers then. And try to find them. Well... Could go submarine hunting with our heavy battleships, but I don't necessarily think that's a good idea. I find it most likely that it's somewhere over here, potentially in the harbor. Could actually look this way. It's not in the harbor. So the most critical aspect then is, can we land our Australian naval forces over here? So we could move you up over there, this way. It would leave this part of the southern Coral Sea uncovered. Aha, there we go. That is a good relief, so we know where it is. And that does tell me that we can come up over here. And actually land, well, I guess over here. Let's land there. And then we can attack these Japanese forces. Taking some damage in the process, but I think we are dealing more that they can reinforce. How can we attack these submarines then? Well, we do have 2 British carriers. Are the submarines a priority, or is this carrier a priority? I think for now the submarines actually might be, because we have very little capabilities to fight them. So let's bring up the first carrier. And did I tell you to be... Naval Tactical? You are. That's fine. Okay, let's conduct a strike. And another one. Submarine dives from attack. That is unfortunate, because now we do not know where it is. And it's not over there. Could bring up all of these battle cruisers and such, but it's not really gonna do that much for us. Can we unload anywhere with these marines? No. We might just elect to bypass that area then. How about over here? Can we move over there and attack? We cannot. Okay, so in that sense then let's bring up these marines towards... Oh, you're just normal marines. Yeah, you should get on land then. These are long-range marines though. And I do think that it might make sense to do some island hopping over here. It's not island hopping in the... Really? Landing casualties? Not in the stricter sense, but it does allow us to have a base over here from which to resupply. Okay, so... Guessing we could simply bring up our battleships. Have a good old battleship on battleship fight. That would put less pressure on our submarines, and we would be able to bring up 3 battleships over here. So you know what, let's do it. Bring up the first battleship. Have a pretty equal fight. Is that really what we want to do? I think it is, because our ability to reinforce is much better than theirs. And they're actually withdrawing a little bit, which does mean we are taking less damage. Second strike over here. Whoa! Very good battle. Actually, very low losses on our side, and we did manage to sink one of their remaining battleships, which is an extremely good result. Let's try to find more of their fleet. I'm thinking that there must be some destroyers around, or I know actually for a fact that there is a destroyer around, but we haven't really seen it so far. So yeah, let's bring up the carriers. I think it's fine to sort of park you down here. All of these guys pretty well reinforced. This battleship should be upgraded to better naval weapons, and let's, you know what, let's take the anti-submarine warfare guys with them. These submarines, I think, should come down over here, so that we have some ability to scout ahead of our fleet next time around. And then these battleships, let's have a look over there. So yeah, the Caroline Islands are occupied by the enemy. Really interested to see where the destroyer went. Yeah, but I think just advancing on a broad front is fine for now. Right, submarines over here, you're blockading that port, which I think is fine. You're blockading this port, which definitely is fine. So happy about this positioning. There are some marine bombers over here, but I don't think it's worthwhile to bring them up even. So yeah, let's not do that. On the other hand, on the island of Hawaii, we do have some fighters, and I think it actually makes sense to bring them up over towards the African theater as well, so that we can have some good view on the situation over there. Good, very good actually. So just one submarine, just these guys over there. Well, this battleship really needs to be reinforced, so let's bring it up to port in Australia, which I think should be fine. And then we do have these carriers up here, which I'm guessing can conduct some strikes on the submarines as well, which does from attack, which is too unfortunate. Really? So I spotted these guys over here, but I can't strike them? Okay, I do know how much damage I would do by striking them, so let's do that. Just a single thing, but not too critical. Bring back the carriers. Bring up our guys to shield them, and this battleship will come towards this UK squadron, and that is going to be fine. Over here towards Java, we can bring up these Australians towards that secondary supply position, so that our forces over here are a little bit stronger. We really wouldn't be able to do too much damage on these guys, but we could at least advance a little bit on them. Ideally, I would like to cut them off from supplies, but the supply situation over here would be so bad. Yeah, okay, that's not really viable. Let's bring it down here. Let's bring up this artillery, and that way we'll at least be able to do some strikes against them, and then ultimately we'll be able to come up from over here. Yeah, that should be alright. Good. Over here on these special forces, again, we can't really do too much. Should be reinforcing though. Our supply at least is decent. 7. Theirs is a little bit worse. Ours over here is pretty bad as well. Well, but we are closing in on them, so I'm pretty happy about the result. Towards the area up here, so towards Bangkok area, I think we need to reinforce the British Army of India over here. And then we can potentially bring in these Malayan forces towards these special forces. We'd not be able to do much damage, so Probably not the best idea. We do have some Indians coming up. So let's first try out with the Chinese. Good attack. We've been cut off with these guys, so yeah, let's bring you back. Attack over here. And then we could liberate with the Indians, at least potentially. Although I'm more mindful of posing a threat to Bangkok, which I think is the appropriate thing to do. Other than that, we can put up these guys in transports from India and start deploying them more towards North African theater, because I don't think Japan is going to hold out for that much longer, so just moving these guys about should be fine. Oh, I always forget about the potential to do air attacks in this area. But then again, it's so rainy, so let's move up from Saigon to Phnom Penh. That works out pretty decent. Yeah, so yeah, just a general advance really over here. And I'm guessing you can reinforce. And otherwise stay where you are. Bring up the Marines. Sorry, the headquarter. And the bombers should move up gently, as should the fighters. Yeah. But we are closing in on them, and that is the main important thing. So, yeah, very good. Other than that, really, there's not much else to be doing with China. So we've dealt with all of this theater. We've dealt with the Americas. Lots of armies about, so yeah, that's fine. That does leave us with a couple of points actually, especially for America. So let's try to research some things. I think between all of these things, it would be very, very nice if we got, so armored warfare will be there very, very soon. Production technology would be nice, but I do think ground attack weapons are actually our highest priority over here. So we are going to overspend on that. We can only advance to level 3, we are at level 2, and still we are investing 2 levels, but that's fine. Can't really spend much more as the US. As the UK, I'm guessing we could spend more, but I do want to do one diplomatic piece, and that is I want to try to influence Sweden to be a little bit more closely aligned to us. And oh, the Americans can actually do that. That is fantastic, so let's do that. Let's actually invest into influencing Sweden towards us, which I think should be fine. We are also investing pretty heavily in Argentina and still haven't managed to flip them. That's a little bit disappointing. So we could either invest more into Sweden or actually put up some things into the other nations. Mongolia is also a very important target actually, because it could allow us to put more points into the Soviet bank. But yeah, you know what? We are invested here already, so let's throw bad money after good money and get Argentina to potentially join us at some point in this war. Good. So, just going through this very briefly, there doesn't seem to be anything that we need to upgrade in the UK. But I guess we can bring up these naval bombers to also here and set you to be raiding, potentially these lines. That's fine. All of these destroyers, light cruisers and such are okay, I guess. Yep, that should be alright. These bombers don't need to be upgraded. Nothing else that really needs to be upgraded or can be upgraded in any form. Good. So, I think even the UK should be doing a little bit more research then. Infantry warfare, armored warfare I think is what you're lacking the most, so that you can fight an effective war on the ground in Europe. I'd also like to get advanced tanks to a higher degree. And that's pretty much all the UK points actually. Good. France. Honestly, I don't think you can do too much right now. Still. Can we actually research as France? No, we cannot. Okay, so you need to be liberated at some point. The Americans certainly can spend more points though, and that might not be the worst idea. So let's look at what we are lacking. And I think just a normal army might not be bad. More mechanized forces. Yeah, you know what, let's buy another army. There will be some towns that we need to defend from, so, or that we will be needing to defend at some point. So I think this is fine. 300 points, good enough for me. Other than that though, we are spending on this and that, so it's not too much requirement to do anything more. I guess we could spend a little bit more on fighters. Oh, but we can't, so that's fine. So we're going to save up some points. We actually have some units that we need to place as the US. And of course we're going to place them over here, sort of in the New York, Boston area. Doesn't really make sense for the aircraft. Oh, have we got new levels of AA technology as the US? I didn't realize we got that. We do not. Oh, it's probably just mobility upgrade on the AA, so we'll think about whether that is really important. Good! That does leave the situation as such, so next time we will be taking the Axis turn, or letting the Axis, the AI play the Axis turn, see how the Soviet fronts are going to hold up, especially on this very critical northern bit, although I'm very happy about last turn's result, with several German armies destroyed. So yeah, very happy about that. Also very happy about having captured this area up here in Norway. So, thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time. Bye bye.